All right, here is the chicken all canned up. I did not get to video myself doing this, and I did kind of mess up with the water level. I was afraid that the chicken was going to give off its own juices, and so I ended up only filling it like 3/4 of the way, assuming that the meat would give off more juice, and it didn't. But I'm not too worried. This is going to get used up well within 2 or 3 months. It's going to go super quick. And I always reheat it extensively before, I feed it to my family. So that was another fail on my part, fail on my part, but that's okay. This will all get used up. And so this is 12 pints. Wait. Yeah, 12 pints all ready for our shelves. And I'm actually going to gift probably 2 or 3 of these to my older couple friend that lives up north of us, and share with them and see what they think of it. So I'm going to get these put away, and we will work on another canning project together. And I think that is going to be the grape jelly. So we are going to get started on making some chicken stock. This whole video is me making chicken stock. The main difference between chicken stock and chicken broth is stock is made more from the bones, and broth is made more from the actual meat of the chicken. So right here you could see I put in my veggie scraps, because that's like the aromatics that you use to get some really good flavor in your chicken stock. And then I put in the carcass, and I put in all my seasonings that I want. You can totally do this to taste. I did throw in salt in the Instant Pot batch, because I'm not going to be canning this portion of it. I want to use this throughout the week. So then I just put on my lid and I set it to sealing. And now we're going to go ahead and put pressure cook and make sure it shows that it's on high, and it does. And then I crank it all the way up to 2 hours. You can do 1 hour, but I do 2. And then by the end of 2 hours, you'll have a beautiful chicken stock. So I'm heading to a doctor's appointment really quick in town, just a quick test at the lab, nothing serious. And then when I get home, I have to load up this whole thing with yogurt that I just made, and then we're also going to haul in some more wood for the stove. I got an armful of wood in just in time. Decided to start snowing out like crazy. So my husband is going to bring in some more wood when he gets home. He said, "Don't worry about it, babe." He said, "Just grab an armful of wood and I'll get the rest when I come home." And I was like, "You don't have to tell me twice." So I got an armful in. I'm going to check them here. It's been about an hour. They're pretty close to room temperature. I didn't want to put super freezing cold logs in there. There's the beeping. That's our chicken broth we just did. So I'm going to shuffle up these coals a little bit, add in a couple of pieces of wood, and then I will show you the chicken broth. Okay, I just threw in one really long piece of wood, and I opened the damper all the way, and it's already catching that log on fire really, really fast. It's super, super hot in there. So we're going to let this log get fired, and then I will damper it down a little bit. Okay, so here you can see it's been 1 minute that the timer has been up. It says L, and then whatever that amount of time is how long it's been since the 2 hours that we set. So we're done, ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and vent this, and I will show you what it looks like. Okay, there she all is. Looks wonderful, smells so good. Right here is some chicken stock that I had done a couple days ago. This it's not really chicken stock. It's more of a broth, because I didn't put any vegetables in it. It was just bones. And you have a good stock or chicken broth when it's gelatinous. It's very gelatin-like, and people are like, "Oh no, what did I do? I ruined my chicken broth. What did I do?" You did nothing. This is perfect. This is what you want. This is that collagen out of those bones that you really want. So I've been using, it was up here, and I've used quite a bit of it since I made it. And you can do this. You don't even have to can your chicken broth or chicken stock. You can just put it in a container and keep it in your fridge and use it throughout the week. That's what I did with this little batch. Normally when I do small batches like this, it's to make and not can, but you still can. I mean, I think I could probably get maybe 5-6 pints out of this right here. So it's not bad at all. So I'm going to put the rest of it in this jar, and what I'm going to do is save this jar of this batch that I just made, and then I'm going to show you the more common way that I like to make my chicken stock in a roaster, because then I can do a really huge batch of it and can it. So this is me wanting to make it shelf stable, so then I use the roaster to make quite a bit more. So this is what it looks like here. I'm going to get this jar warmed up. I don't really want to put super boiling hot liquid into a room temperature jar because it could shatter. And I love these jars. This is what I use to get raw milk from my friend who lives down south of me. They have a gasket on the inside so they don't leak. So I really don't want to break these jars because I need them for when she comes into milk again, hopefully this spring. Sounds like her cow is bred, and I should be getting some maybe end of March or April. That would be wonderful. So we're going to get this jarred up. I'm just going to use my fine mesh screen. You could do cheesecloth. You could run it through a filter if you wanted to like really get every little bit out of there, but I honestly just don't really care right now, especially since I'm going to be combining this with the stock that I'm going to make in the roaster. So let's get this strained out and you can see what it looks like. So I just filled this up with some hot water from my sink and then dumped it out. So now the glass is pretty warm. Now I don't really feel so bad putting in really hot liquid into this. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on here. Kind of at a, well, I wonder if I can use this. Sweet. And then I'll get this poured in here and we'll see. Will that be better? Yeah, we'll do that. We'll see how this goes.
Mommy, we'll go look at outside.
It's still snowing, isn't it?
Look, Mommy.
Hang on, please.
Yeah, it looks pretty.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Knew that was gonna happen. And there is our beautiful yellowy, orangey chicken stock that we made. And it was only 2 hours and it was barely any prep time. I threw it in, went out the door, came back, and now I have a week's worth easily of chicken stock. I love this stuff. It will turn that color once it, gels in the fridge, but once you warm it up, it'll turn right back to that color. So I'm not too worried. It looks perfect to me. It is getting this little layer of fat. That gives it some good flavor. You can see the fat floating in here. That really doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, you're more than welcome to try and skim it off once it gels and it floats to the top. You can skim off that yellow fat if you don't like it. But for us, our preference is we just don't mind. It's not really that big of a deal for us. So I wanted to get that done and out of my Instant Pot because the next thing I'm going to show you guys is how I'm going to make these pork chops in my Instant Pot with some homemade, do-it-yourself cream of anything base soup and some mushrooms that I dehydrated to make my own cream of mushroom soup to make this pork chop meal in. So let's get to it. So this is my cream of anything base. I just put cream of ... I can do whatever I want with it. I could do cream of cheddar, cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, cream of whatever. That's one of the best things about doing this mix. And then I also put the directions on the back so it's easy for me to just know what measurements I need. It's 1/3 cup of this mix plus 1/4 cup of a liquid of your choice. So you could use milk, you could use water, or you can use that chicken stock or broth that we just made together. You could use that for this. For the mushroom recipe that this came with, that this showed, it said use water, but I'm going to use that chicken stock because I want to use it up, and it adds a wonderful flavor. So I'm going to use 1 1/4 cup, I put that here, of the liquid, which is going to be that broth, and then I'm going to do 1/3 cup of this. I'm going to let it go for 2 minutes to get nice and thick and boil, and then these are my mushrooms that I dehydrated. They're nice and crispy. I have 8 of these in my pantry right now, or 9, I can't remember. And so I measured it out exactly how many I would need for this recipe, and I put them in little jars like this so I have the exact amount. So we're going to go ahead and make that together. And you can kind of see here now, it didn't take very long at all, and this is already liquid again, and it looks wonderful. It's beautiful and golden. So I'm going to let this warm up a little bit more. I want to see it start to boil, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in my mix. So while that chicken broth is warming up over there, I'm going to go ahead and use the saute function on my Instant Pot. So I'm going to hit saute. I'm going to put in some of this lard that we got off one of our pigs in here, and I'm just going to sear all of my all my pork chops in here. I want to get a nice brown on each side, and then once that's done, I will shut it off, and then I will probably deglaze this pot with a little bit more of that chicken broth just to get any bits off the bottom before we pressure cook. And I did not wash this pot after we did the chicken stock because I just rinsed it out really well. It's fine. So if you see the stuff here, don't freak out. It's just from the chicken broth. It's not going to hurt anything. I'm literally going to be putting chicken broth back in here anyway, so no big deal for me on that. This is starting to boil. My Instant Pot is heating up for the sear. We're going to go ahead and put in the 1/3 cup of mix here and whisk it. And if you have fresh mushrooms you're wanting to add, wait until the end to put them in. But since mine are dehydrated mushrooms, I want to put them in so they can start rehydrating.
You didn't say it right.
And there we have our cream of mushroom soup. So now that that's nice and thick, I'm going to let it sit over here with the lid on to keep it warm. And we are going to head over here and finish up searing our pork chops. Oh. And you will know when these are ready to flip once they start releasing from the pan. Well, it's not a pan, but the pot. Once they're easy to release, you'll know it's nice and seared. Because right now they're kind of sticking. So we want to give it a minute to finish the sear, and then we'll flip them. Nice. So they're just releasing from the pot, or the bottom of the pot pretty well. They're not sticking. I want to see them a little more brown than that, so I might flip them back over here in a minute. Now these are pork chops off of the pig that we did in December. December? Yeah. We did these in December. It was the pig that we butchered ourselves from our neighbor. And they didn't have the biggest pork chops, but I mean, they're absolutely delicious. So we don't mind. We just packaged up a few more in a vacuum seal bag that will feed our whole family. And so we have, I think, maybe 3 or 4 of these bags of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pork chops. And that's more than enough for our family. Okay, these are starting to get a little more color on them. That one's still sticking. That one's good. Much better color. While I am searing those, I have some potatoes that I want to use up. And I'm just going to make fried potatoes in my skillet. So I am going to, I mean, the canned ones don't really fry all that well when you do fried potatoes, but this little amount I think is going to be okay. I just want to get them used up. It's my last jar. Not a big fan of jarred potatoes, so I'm not going to be doing this again. I just want to get rid of them. So I'll put that in toward the end, but for now I'm going to clean the skins off of these really well. They're starting to, some of them had some sprouts, so I'm just picking them off. Nothing too major, but I'm going to clean the skins really well. I'm going to leave the skins on when I fry these. So we're going to have fried potatoes and pork chops tonight. Okay, I put the last pork chop out here. You always get this too. You don't have to do it. It's just flavors of so I don't need to so I'm going to shut the side off. I'm going to take a bottom pan this, and by the way, I want to take my wooden scraper and scrape on the bottom. And then we all get off on so we won't have the burn one going off on. So we start everything. It's easy to pull all of our on the bottom. Now I'm going to leave as much juice in here when I pressure cook, just in case my pork chops don't be juice on the and I'm going to here for about 8 minutes. I probably wait 6 because when I decided to do pork chops in these for 6 to 8 minutes, and you're on the slower side, so I'm just going to do this easy. I'd rather have them done instead of doing 6 minutes and going out and saying, okay, you're not done, and then having to be rolling. So now that I'm completely clean, I'm going to fix in there. That's some good flavor. And we're just going to add a layer of pork chops to the bottom, put on a little bit of our mushroom sweetness, and everything. So it's going to be like kind of a lasagna style layering.
So we were saying.
Yeah. Cute. And how old are you? Awesome. Right? Awesome. I can't see you. So looking back, I probably should have pulled some of that liquid off of there, but honestly, I think it'll be just fine. It's going to make kind of a gravy consistency, hopefully once I'm done here. And then we can use it to put over the potatoes if we want, or pretty much sky's the limit. You can either use it or not. I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to come here and we're going to go pressure cook, and I do not want to do it for 2 hours. So we're going to crank it way down. We're going to do it for 8 minutes. So I've got it on 8 minutes, high pressure, and it's going to cook. I want it not on venting. I want it to be sealing. So I just switched it to seal. I don't know if you can see. This says venting, and then up here it says sealing. So I want it on sealing. And that is going to cook our pork chops for us. So it's going to come up to temperature, come up to pressure. It's going to pop this little pressure seal, pop it up to make that pressure in the Instant Pot, and that's when it will start cooking. So I'm going to let it go ahead and do that and get started on these potatoes. Got all the potatoes in here. Just try to make them a nice even layer. I'm going to let them cook like this for a little while. I want them to get nice and crispy on the one side, so I'll let it be sitting for 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'm going to flip them, and then I'm going to add some onions and a little bit of seasoning. So fried potatoes is super easy. You basically just cook them until they're tender. So once these are done and I flip them, I was going to add these, but now I'm thinking I'm not, because this is still quite a bit of potatoes for all of us. So I might just stick with what I got here. Oh, sounds like these are done. That was pretty simple, pretty quick. So I'm going to let those sit in there. I'm not going to release the pressure. I'll just let it naturally release on its own. You could release the pressure and they'd be good to go, but I'm just going to leave it to keep it nice and warm while I finish up the potatoes. Okay, so the pork chops are done. The potatoes are almost done. My husband will be home any minute. Once he gets home, usually it gets to be a little bit loud in here, so I don't really film a whole lot. But the next time I film, it will be me showing you guys how I do my chicken stock in the roaster. And then we can kind of go from there tomorrow, and I'll show you how to can it in the next video. But this video just is showing you how I do chicken broth 2 ways and a quick little meal that is super easy to put together. So here are the pork chops. They're looking fantastic. It's not quite as thick as a gravy should be, but I don't think we're really going to put gravy on our fried potatoes, so I'm not going to turn it into a gravy. I'm just going to leave it, and then we'll pull the pork chops out as we want to eat them. We've got the potatoes here frying. They're almost ready for a turn. I've seasoned them. They're ready to go, and then this will be our meal for tonight. So I'm going to get some things cleaned up, all of my stuff put together. We have church tonight, but when I get home from church, I will be showing you guys the chicken stock in a roaster. Okay, I'm back, and it's the next day, and I have not started the roaster of chicken broth, unfortunately. I got home from church last night, was not feeling the best. I just decided to take it easy last night, so we're gonna try and get it going today. I'm gonna wait till after supper to do it because tomorrow we are going out of town and we will be gone most of the morning and part of the afternoon. So when I get home, I'm gonna get an easy supper at the store. I think I'm gonna go to Costco. I'll probably just pick up a Costco supper and then just bring that home and feed my family with that. That kind of takes the guesswork out of supper for me, and while that is warming up and cooking for my family, I will take you along with me to do the canning of the chicken broth. So it will be in the roaster from right before I go to bed tonight until I get back in the afternoon, and we'll get right into canning. So first I want to clean off my counters because I've got stuff. These need to go back out into my storage in the garage. I've got dishes to do, dishes to put up. I have some old Christmas, not old, but just Christmas cookie cutters that need to go back in the Christmas bag. I've got supper on the stove. I'll show you that here in a second. I have a mill, my old flour mill. This would grind the wheat berries for me before I got the mock mill. And then I have some more pancake mix that I want to refill and put in the pantry. I have these extra jars. These are just glass jars that I put stuff in. They need to go out into my storage in the garage. I need to feed my sourdough, and that's about it. So I'm gonna get cracking on that, and I'm gonna show you supper first real quick. So this right here, I got it a little too hot right now. I'm gonna turn it down just a bit. This is chicken noodle soup that I canned a year ago, maybe? Maybe more. I didn't look at the lid, but I knew I had some on my shelf that I wanted to get used up. I believe this was the last of it. 2 quarts of chicken noodle soup. And this is not going to be enough for my family, and that's okay because there is quite a bit of vegetables and chicken in here and not a lot of broth. So that's kind of perfect because I want to use up that original broth that I made that I showed you guys yesterday. So what I'm going to do is put in a healthy amount of this chicken stock into here, let it come to temp, and then I'm going to grab some egg noodles and throw them in, and I will have supper. And it will be ready to go by the time my husband gets home. So that's another good reason for putting canned items on your shelf, because this was a really quick pulled together supper and I didn't have to do a lot of work. There was like no prep involved whatsoever today. Of course there was prep when I did this, you know, the chicken stock and the canning, but to me it's a payoff because then there's days like today when I'm busy and have other projects I want to do. I don't have to worry about supper, and it's wonderful. So to make chicken stock in the roaster, I just grab my chicken carcasses. You can roast these beforehand. I didn't. I just was short on time. And then my veggie scraps in the freezer that I've been saving. And I'm just going to throw them right into my roaster and then fill my roaster up completely with water. I also like to add some apple cider vinegar. That really helps pull some collagen out of the bones. And then I'll do garlic and pepper corn for just some flavor of the broth. After that, I throw the lid on and set it on 250 and let it cook overnight. Be sure to watch for my next video where we can this together and go over some more canning basics. Thanks guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.